right, it is a bright, beautiful Sunday, warm Sunday. It's just looked, it's 27 degrees, feels like 23, so barely any wind. That's above zero, that's a big change. We've had quite the winter. See, we've had some snow and beautiful unrolling bales for bedding, for nutrition, for them to eat. And the cattle, the horses, absolutely love it. I love it. I've had a few videos about it, how it works really well for me. I don't think it's for everyone. There's a lot of benefits to it. My horses are out there in a different pasture, and there's two of them laying down. One is flat out just laying on the hay, and every hay that I enroll gets a little bit further out, so I never try not to unroll anything on top of anything else. And it's working out well for me. I've done it for a few years. The thing about this, especially when you have 4 seasons like we do here in Minnesota, it's never the same. No 2 years are the same. This winter's been pretty typical, what probably most people think of a Minnesota winter. Typical of that. Cold, not quite as much snow, but roughly average. Multiple days below zero. Some days don't even get above zero, but it makes these days so much more special. The reason I bring up mainly this unrolling is that I got a couple of negative comments lately, and one was about unrolling this, and it wasn't even directed at me. And there's a lot of negatives to social media. I put videos, YouTube, on social media category. Wasn't even directed at me, and I even hesitated bringing it up because most of it's like, okay, negative comments, that's fine. I like comments, even criticism, questions, anything you want, especially if it's directed at me. This particular one was just nasty. I don't know if they just having a bad winter. Hopefully their life gets a little better. It was about unrolling hay, and there's a few things I agree with the commenter. By the way, the thing I like about social media is I can just delete it. It's gone, forever gone from the world. And sometimes you wish life could be that way in real life, but I usually just don't engage negativity like that. I want to have a conversation where we maybe both don't agree, great. And then there's a point where you just walk away, agree to disagree. It's just not worth it. That's the way, you try to be. So I agree with the comment about, expensive hay. I agree with that. Hay is expensive, and it doesn't get any cheaper, and it's expensive to make for the producers. I understand that. So you should put it in feeders. Okay, I do actually. I do have hay feeders. As much as I can be out here unrolling as the ground will allow, I will do it. There's times where it's too much snow for my little tractor that I just cannot get out there, so I might set the bale somewhere. I haven't had a lot of luck with, I know people bale graze where they just graze the whole bale down. I haven't had much luck with that. And that's the beauty of YouTube, and that's kind of the whole point of me doing a little bit of these videos too, is not so much to teach, is just this is what I do. Other people do other things. Sometimes I've gotten a ton of ideas. My learning curve has shortened so much in these last several years since I've been really watching YouTube, especially with agriculture or horse related stuff. Not so much the horse stuff, to be honest. I go to certain sources for that because I'm real guarded about that. And you have to be guarded about your information from wherever you get it, in my opinion. But YouTube has helped with that. Fixing things. I wasn't much of a fixer before. I fixed a lot of things, but anyway. The bale grazing, where they just bale, I think you need more cattle. And I admit, as far as most agriculture is concerned or government's concerned, I'm nothing. I'm not even a blip on the radar as far as the amount of acres and the amount of cattle. I'm completely happy with it though. That's what matters. There's a point where I just wouldn't really want to expand because it's a whole set of different problems that you come up with. You got to get more land, you got to buy more hay, get more cattle, and it's not that I won't ever do that. It's just I got other things going. So I like what I have. I'd like to try to be much more direct market than what I have been, meaning, sell the beef directly. You keep all you keep your more of your money together. It's you're more accountable for the end product. But I would, like I said, I agree that hay is expensive. I do have feeders, but as long as I can unroll it out here, the only thing that'll stop me now is if we get a bunch of snow or when it starts getting too muddy. It's too hard on the grass then. It's too hard on the grass to drive on it, and then the cattle will really mud it up once spring hits. We're still a ways away from that, especially looking at the forecast. We're going to get some nicer days. So the problem with the lovely comment I got, I'll address it, is I have a feeder. Feeders are not cheap either, and they wreck them. I don't care what they are. Eventually they wreck them. It's just what they do. They get worn out. I got one in there right now that I fed. I had some bulls in here that I sold recently, and that's a time where I didn't unroll because of so few animals. There was like 4 in there. I could have unrolled, but I think the snow might have covered it up, and sometimes the wind comes and blows a lot of the hay, so I chose to feed it in a feeder. I could have done it the other way anyway. I've got a feeder over here where I call it a Franken feeder, where it's parts of other feeders that have broken and new in parts that are okay, and then they broke that. So I save on feeders. I have totally saved on hay feeders lately. I actually need to get a couple more. I used to go through them every 2-3 years, and I don't have that many animals to really justify buying them. They're a decent one's like $400. You can get them cheaper, and then you go through them in a year or less, or 2 months, or then they break and then become a safety hazard because they're metal. See, it's another reason why I like this. They just lay down on it, and then I'll move wherever I've unrolled further down. So you try to mimic what they would do in nature. And it's worked out well. Like I said, I tried the bale grazing, and it's great, the people that do it. I see what they're saying with it. It comes back real green, the grass, but, well, I should say what comes back green is mostly weeds. I have a problem with that. Once in a while, if they don't clean this up decent, I'll get a few weeds coming through, but eventually, after the weeds subside, which they do if you manage it right, the grass is super green. So anyway, I just wanted to give another update. Gorgeous day. Going to get to cutting some wood here. A tree that fell in a pasture last fall. There's just always something. Doesn't matter the size of your property. There's always something. This tree, there's a couple of ones that were dying down there, and this one didn't look like one of the dead ones. It was a pretty hard wind one day, and it fell right into the pasture. Thankfully, nothing was in there, but just you can't plan for everything. And a lot of times you're just kind of thankful that something didn't happen. But I just kind of wanted to talk about that. Like, I like the comments, even criticism to a certain extent. The one thing I won't put up with is like that comment I'm talking about. It's hardly worth addressing, but I thought, well, it is, because I see it people in other videos and spend a lot of times defending themselves. I don't feel like I need to defend anything. I can explain things better if needed, but I don't put up with the cussing. If you're going to cuss about stuff, I tend not to. I don't think I do it all in my videos. Just rather not. Don't need to. Can use a better word, hopefully, in place of that. There's days though, but we just don't turn the camera on then. But you know, it's just not needed. I don't know what goes on in a person's life that they feel like they got to attack someone they don't know. At least I don't think I know them. Um, and it's usually the people with no videos and no subscribers. And hey, if that's what you want to do, you don't want to do any videos or subscribe, that's great. But my feeling is it's a dummy account, so they can go around kind of attacking people. And there's enough of that out there. Just don't need it, and I can delete it. It's gone. You can't always do that in real life, but most of the time run into good people. And if you don't, you just don't be around them as much as possible and just move on. Just walk away. It's not worth it. So just wanted to address that. I'm going to keep doing my videos, and some of them are just, this is what I do sometimes, this is what I don't do, and a lot of it's more of the same because that's the way it is, especially in the winter. But soon, before you know it, spring will be here. It'll be a different set of challenges. Calves will be coming from their mothers, and that sounded weird. Calves will be dropping. Cows will be calving in a couple of months. How about that? And then already with this tree here, they're going to cut up. Already thinking about next winter and fuel for next winter, burning some wood. So thanks for watching.